Welcome, everybody. My computer is fixed. It is January 2025. A little late to the game. Had a little, New Year's and break and all that stuff. But now we are back and looking back on 2024 and looking forward to 2025. I have Luke and JP here with me. Welcome, guys. It's good to be back.
Happy New Year, Kyle.
Yes, I'm so glad you guys are here. We have a bunch to discuss. We're going to cover everything from contests to shows, Facebook group updates, and kind of a recap through Luke that we'll share as well. So let's get right into it. We're going to start off with our contest for the Facebook group of December of 2024. And this was Destiny number 4. I didn't really know how this was going to go when JP and I we're coming up with ideas for different contests, but this was a great month. We had a healthy mix from top, unique, and low ball. Frankly, some of these probably should have been categorized in different categories and won those, but I mean, it's all good stuff, right? So it was great to see some really interesting slabs, some I haven't seen myself. So let's kick off with our low ball here. We had 4 submissions for low ball, believe it or not. Usually JP ends up by himself, but he is not by himself, and far from being the lowest of low ball. This was great. So we had 2 great low ball submissions that were kind of in the contention here, with one just barely edging off. In our runner-up, we have Dan JT Molina with the PSA 7 flagship executor and the PSA 8 wedge Japanese. Great submission for low ball. And edging out barely, Brian Christopherson with the PSA 7 wedge foil and PSA 8 red 7. It was really the combination of those 2 cards that made sense, that ultimately edged that out. Congratulations, Brian. I will be sending you a Japanese PSA 9 Y-Wing for your collection, or to give away to your kids, whatever you want. Let's move on to unique. I'm going to hand this over to JP, since this was such a popular category.
Yeah, it seemed to be the most popular category. And if a few of the other submitters actually changed categories to like top pair, they would have probably taken it as well. So this just shows how deep all these submissions go. But the 3 people that were in contention was, our very own Kyle here. He had a very good submission of Japanese Obi-Wan cape and Leia's ceremonial necklace Japanese also. Those were a fantastic submission. Cam was the runner-up with his Someone Who Loves You PSA 10 and Rug Hug Hoth as well. But the one that really checked all the boxes, it was absolutely unusual. It was a fantastic submission. The winner is Jonathan Salter. He had the Sergeant Doalin PSA 10 and one I've never seen before, which is the BGJ 38 PSA 10. Both are Pop 1. They're both from Jabba's Palace. We don't see a lot of Jabba's Palace stuff like that. And so congratulations to Jonathan. He wins a Star Wars New Hope card sleeves.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. And top pair, I'll kick off 3rd and 2nd place and save first for JP. 3rd place, I gave to Andy Hallbrooks. I thought it was really cool seeing PSA 9s of Stormtrooper Garrison and Min Kinag foil. It's totally unusual. I don't think I've seen either of those graded, so that was really cool to see. Cool submission there. 2nd place, runner-up, Robert John, PSA 9s of Flagship Executor and Flagship Executor foil. Solid cards. But 1st place, JP?
It goes to Brian Emery. Fantastic submission of Fear Will Keep Him in Line, PSA 10, and a Fear Will Keep Him in Line Japanese 9. Just an absolutely cool submission. I know there was a lot of executors. Everybody says them a little different. But digging deep to find all those Destiny 4 cards was it was a great showcasing this month. So congratulations. Brian wins the Brainiac. What's the specs on that Brainiac?
Yeah, PSA 7 Reflections 2 Japanese foil Brainiac. So kind of a weird one. But awesome. Congratulations, Brian, on that. Looking forward to our upcoming contest categories in case you need to be reminded. So January is Stormtroopers. That could be a Rebel or Imperial cards. It could be a Stormtrooper utility belt. It could be a picture of a Stormtrooper in the card. It could be Stormtrooper in the text or game text. That's fine as long as it's something with Stormtroopers in there.
What about Sand Troopers and Snow Troopers and Scout Troopers? Do those count, or is it
I would count those because they're troopers.
Okay. Good to know.
Like they're different variations of troopers.
Okay.
So I would count that. Good question. February, gambling, gaming, pod racing, Sabak themed. March is foil locations and planets. Our non-foil locations and planets was not too popular. I'm hoping maybe everybody just had theirs foiled. Otherwise, that'll be a dud month. But April, Destiny number 3. So we come back with the Destiny number game. And then in May, we have devices and or creatures. So that is what we have to look forward to. Moving on to our Facebook group Round the Horn updates. JP, what do you got going on in the group?
Well, a lot this month. As everybody's probably noticed, we had a huge influx of memberships that came along. Thank you to Cam for doing his giveaway for Son of Skywalker. That brought in 40 plus people within 7 days. That's the largest amount we've ever seen in such a short period of time. We went from, I believe it was 844 or 834. It just kept climbing so fast. But I know on Friday it was 884. We're up there. This morning it's 890. So every day is 1 or 2 new members, which is great, healthy growth. We've had a couple of new members that even reached out to our community and had some really good questions about getting ready to get grading. So that's what we're here for, is to just provide support and make sure we're all helping each other be better submitters and inspectors. So, it's always us against the grading services. Remember, we're all on the same team. But, I really enjoy all the competitions and stuff. But anything we can do to improve our inspections and get better grades and just make it a better hobby, please, if you have any questions, reach out to me, any of the people you see on the stream, any of the group experts, or just the group in general. We'll jump right out and help you as soon as possible. So good, healthy growth. We also had a Goldens auction for the first time. We're going to see how it kind of pans out. There may be a return on it soon, but we're watching it. But just the fact that somebody submitted it, it sold for a lot more than anything else, just is going to show that the Star Wars CCG cards are just reaching every corner of all collectability and reaching out to all investors, and everybody's looking at different ways of showcasing them and getting them sold. So if you're either a collector or a flipper, just keep your eye out. There may be more and more coming out into the golden auctions, and he is the highest collectible viewed company in all the world, just as much as eBay. In fact, I think eBay bought him this year back in 2024. I personally am going to a Kansas City show in February. We got 2 tables. Me and my sons are going to be doing it. And my sons are going to be running a sports card side to it, but it's not specifically a sports card show. It just said card show. So I'm expecting to see some gaming, probably Pokemon, of course, and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic. But I'm going to have a whole table that's just going to be dedicated to Star Wars CCG. And I'm going to video record it, maybe try to do a YouTube out of it and just kind of show you how it goes, what people's reactions are. And I'm going to have them priced according to what Luke's data is. So there's not going to be anything outrageous. Of course, it's a show, so I've got to have it priced to sell or at least bring some attention to it. So you guys are going to just see kind of just how a show goes with just a table of Star Wars CCG.
Dying to hear what the feedback is from that and what you hear out in the field. So very excited.
Yeah, I've been dying. I mean, the Springfield area, I don't know what it is just the people are just perpetual vendor table hogs or something. I just can never get to the coordinators enough where they have tables available. I've talked to the vendors that are at all these shows, and they're like, I was on a waiting list for 2.5 years, and I'm like, I can't believe that.
Yeah, they get a bigger venue, right? Like,
yeah, something. You got people that are dying to pay, and the tables are not cheap in Springfield. So, but I'm willing to run it and try to hold on to it. And whenever they run a show, mine will just be Star Wars CCG all the time, and just kind of keep it out in people's faces. So, yes, if you got any questions about that, I'll run some videos and give you some feedback probably near the end of February. Also, I just want to bring up, and I know Luke's here, but I want to give a nice shout out to Matt, Mark, Luke, and Greg, my four Gospels, for doing such a great job on the state of the market. This last one, I was literally like enthralled. I'm just sitting there, hanging on every word, and it's not that it's getting to be so good, but it's like I can't wait for the next one to come out.
Yeah,
it's usually positive information, but the data and the values are so important. And just hearing that a little of this down and this is up, and a lot of the stuff stays the same. If you have not gone out to see the state of the market videos, I know Luke's going to talk a little bit and do a recap here of 2024, but it's one of the best videos on YouTube you can possibly watch, especially if you're in the hobby. It's just well
structured,
like,
informative,
structured. It's got the best data, all that stuff. And then two little kind of things I just want to throw out there, maybe quick discussions, is one PSA special. PSA specials is just a value bulk this month, but might be a little handy because it's for $400 or less cards. If you're finally getting to the point where you need a break, $5 or $6 off of those cards you've been wanting to put out there, all the higher, a little bit higher end cards, this is now your chance to get them all done all at once and save a ton of money. So be looking at that value bulk for PSA. And I wasn't sure if I was going to share it, but I'm going to put this out there because I'm going to be promoting it here in a lot of the Star Wars CCG groups. I'm going to start doing a Whatnot show with one of my sons. He's already established as a sports card, but he's going to start running straight up Star Wars CCG shows. That's all it's going to be. It's got sealed stuff. It's all the JP collections.
Like ripping stuff on the channel, like doing
we could. It's not
kind of thing.
A lot of those Whatnot shows, they do a lot of ripping, but they kind of market it as it's going to be a rip, or they have the giant wheel where you pick a specific team or what it might be. So the first couple ones, it's just going to be some sealed product, a lot of slab stuff, and probably some raw cards, especially for those that are getting tired of probably dealing with all of the eBay nonsense and fees and stuff. So their shipping is so cheap, it's like a one flat fee, and once you reach it, you don't have to pay any more. Most of the stuff on Whatnot goes for $1 or $2. So if you don't have a Whatnot account yet, it's easy to set it up. I'll keep you updated when it's going to get started, but I'm going to run a few shows just to see how it goes. And if it's another outlet for other folks out there to start getting involved, because there are some Star Wars fan pages and groups that are out there. I've gone to them and they sell like posters and the old 1977 Topps cards, and they've got a whole variety. I've seen bed sheets, Star Wars vintage bed sheets out there go. So there's a ton of Star Wars fans out there, and it's going to cater to those too. But for you fans and collectors that are in the hobby for just Star Wars CCG, I'd come out and just take a look. You might be able to get some sealed product pretty cheap, and that'll be your stuff you're going to want to get graded. So
you're going to post a link to that, or post that in the group before that goes out and stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure. And there's all those shows are linkable, and they can be saved if you have a Whatnot account. I'll get you the accounts and the users and make it super easy for you. All you got to do is show up.
Can you also, can you post the information for that Springfield show for anybody who's in the Midwest?
Right. Well, it'll be Kansas City. I can't get into a Springfield show. Yeah. So I will post that too. I'll post that too, but I don't want anybody showing up now getting cheap tables, because they were cheap tables out there. And
no, not to buy a table. Like if they're in there, like show us the show, say hi.
Experts like, hey, the tables were super cheap. I'm here too. But that would be awesome. But yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll link up the stuff for the Kansas City show.
Awesome. Thank you, JP. All right, let's get right to the meat and potatoes here of this conversation we're all looking forward to. So, Luke, we're going to hand this over to you, and the floor is yours if you want to share screens, I can also put that up too. So
great. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Good to see you all, and thank you, JP, for the props on the graded update, the quarterly update, which is so fun to be a part of. I'm actually really happy to be part of that each time. Let me just get my screen going here. Actually,
those are great. I always look forward to those too. That's like I see it post up. I'm like, click. I'm like,
yeah.
Right in there.
Yeah. Let me send this to the chat, and if you could just, I mean, this is just a Google Doc, but yeah, my role with the quarterly updates is more sealed, and because it was the end of the year, put together a like a overview of both sealed and graded, and I kept the graded update specifically for our group. So you have to really be a member of the graded group to go look at it. And I linked to it and I said, hey, join up the Star Wars CCG graded group if you'd like to see the more detailed updates. Hopefully that helps with some new members too. But because it's the end of the year, I asked Kyle and JP if it'd be okay if I hopped on and just went over some of our year-end stuff. So Kyle, in the private chat, if you could click on the link I sent, that would be great, because for whatever reason, my presentation part is not working here. It's just a Google Doc that.
Oh, I have to request access.
Oh, great. Let me do that. So let me share that. Sorry. Technical.
I need an Imperial code cylinder.
Yeah. There. Yes. There you go. All right. Let's click on it again. Sorry. Really what this is kind of what I posted to the Facebook group, but I told Kyle and JP that I wanted to do some commentary around what we're seeing with graded over the course of the past year. And so, yeah, we'll take a quick look once Kyle gets it loaded up here. All right, so we've got the graded data up. Thanks, Kyle, for working with us. I just wanted to compare the last 3 years, and you really see a lot more graded product being sold. And so this last year we had 2,230 sales. Now, the average price is not as high as the past, but the total volume of sales, so $177,000, means that, yeah, we have a pretty robust market. After the pandemic or during the pandemic, that was really like the slow growth up. And now we see just a lot of graded product being bought and sold on eBay. Scroll down, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's dictated by this average price. Right now that there's more product out there, more slabs are out there. We can look at each time. There's a lot of, Kyle can attest to this, a lot of sort of smaller sales from time to time that will bring down the average price, but that shows that there's just more interest. Like there's more people involved in the market, and so again. While the average price of a slab for Star Wars CCG across the entire year has gone down, the number of total slabs gone up. It reflects a more mature market. The people are really involved in this and interested in it, which I think is cool. Just go down, please.
I mean, $80 per slab, like average, that's still
pretty good.
High. Like,
yep.
That's still really high. I would almost expect that to go down even a little bit more.
I think you're probably right. I think we'll probably still see it go down, but I still think that we'll see a lot of product being sold. Biggest single day, you had 65 tracked sales on March 17th. I don't know what it was about that day, one seller in particular. But you can see, like, on my end, I am someone who looks at the data pretty much every day. Maybe if I'm on vacation or something's going on, but like I am very familiar with the sealed and graded data on a daily basis. As Kyle and JP can attest to, I like write out to the admins on the group and say, hey, here's a notable sale that I just came across of. And so to have 65 in one day was a lot of data entry.
Yeah, it is a lot. Were those all 99-cent auctions?
I think they might have been. Yeah, I think they might have been. I don't recall the exact breakdown of what those all were, but yeah, there was certainly a lot that particular day.
Or was everybody like, let's just save it until like spring break and then we'll dump it then because we have nothing else going on. So
usually we also see a huge influx of stuff around May the 4th because of Star Wars Day and just like PSA magazine, as you talked about, and just like
but you're forgetting something else too, right? Like, don't tax returns start coming back?
That's sure. We could. Yeah, that
people get this like random influx of like an extra grand, give or take.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
sure.
Yay.
Yeah. Something that was really cool that I posted out to the group as well. The number of total eBay sellers, if you look at 2022, 59 sold some sort of like title of Star Wars CCG PSA, and PSA is by far and away the graded company that Star Wars CCG slabs are being bought and sold. I'll go through that more in a little bit. Obviously, everybody has their own preference, but PSA is the one that has the most robust market. And so, I mean, look, it's almost like 10 times.
sellers is a lot.
Like we have 465 different sellers this last year of Star Wars CCG PSA product, which really reflects a huge growth. That is, at the moment, if we have 890 total members of the graded group, like think about that. It was like half of the graded group would be selling something on eBay, which, in 2023, it was only 167. Some of this is probably related to the release of Star Wars Unlimited, where people are incorrectly tagging Star Wars CCG Unlimited PSA stuff. But I don't think it's everything. And I think that it reflects that, again, people are buying and selling this product at a much higher rate than in the past. I mean, 59 to 465 in the span of 2 years shows that there's a lot of people involved in this.
Well, if you think about, even if it's like, let's just look at the Facebook group, assuming like the core amount of people is like 900. Like there's some people that are not in the group and they do collect some of these, right? But it's not the bulk, right?
No, not at all.
You're gonna get some slabs. You're gonna either buy them or have them, and then you're gonna be like, oh, actually, I got an upgraded version, or I want to trade it for a totally different thing. Inevitably, they're gonna post that for sale, somewhere. Where else are you gonna do it? Either in the group or on eBay. So it's basically like you're talking about half the group here putting up at least one card up for sale at some point over the last year.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
that's totally believable.
Yeah, it shows that people are actively collecting and buying and selling, which is great. Scroll down, please.
But I have to imagine, even if that's 465, like there's maybe like a core of like 50 or less that consistently putting.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe even like 30 or 40. I can't imagine.
But still, that's way more than a couple years ago.
It is. It's really just Mark, really.
Yeah, that's right.
Charge on that.
This is somewhat interesting. I mean, I just ran the column filter on the number of actual like names of cards. So like Darth Vader, by far the most popular like graded card. That would include like Darth Vader foil, Darth Vader Unlimited, Darth Vader. I mean, it would not include Darth Vader case topper or Darth Vader. But I think it would include Darth Vader Japanese. But anyways, you can see it's all Premier with the exception of Princess Leia Organa, a very collectible card from Jabba's Palace. About 48 sales of that with foil, non-foil in terms of the overall numbers here. But Premier dominates for sure because there's just the most product of that out there.
This doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, no.
This doesn't surprise me.
Scroll down. Then the top volume of sets, foils. I mean, guys, we talk about this all the time. Foils are hard to grade in Star Wars CCG, but like that also completely dominates the top volume of sets graded. So Reflections far and away, 483 sales points for Star Wars CCG cards in 2024. Then Premier, as we just mentioned, but then Reflections 2 and 3, right? Which is so interesting to me too, because Reflections 3 is seen as a much more scarce product, but like a lot of that is sold. Like a lot of people grading.
Are these counting foils, non-foils, or Japanese, English, like whiteboard?
They are counting foils and non-foils. So like for Reflections, the first set, right? There's no premium. It was just foils. Reflections 2 and 3, yes, it would count the premiums as a part of that.
The Reflections foil doesn't surprise me at all, given there's actually like more of those out in the existence in the ether than we want to believe. Like I think there'll be almost an endless stream of those for a while.
Those are like all the top cards too,
Wild Things Games was like selling like complete sets of those, like stacks and stacks for forever. Like it was, there's over 200 available of this, foil forlom or something. You're like, all right, well, it's not that.
But like the Reflections 3, people are like cracking that, grading that. Like, yeah, I just think that's somewhat interesting as well to see that product, which is on the sealed side of things, you see like 1 or 2 sales of Reflections 3 boxes a year. And
I would have thought like Cloud City would have maybe been in there, second place. Maybe some A New Hope or Death Star 2 might be creeping in there soon, but
yeah,
I don't know. That's a little surprising, I guess.
We'll scroll down, please. And then, the last little bit, Japanese premiere. A lot of people are grading Japanese premiere as well. That's 106 there too. Okay. Then I thought this was really interesting as well. Look at the graded singles sold by company. So PSA almost had 2,000 sales almost of Star Wars CCG cards across 2024. But as I noted to our admin group, the other companies have all seen like a doubling of the number of sales in the last year. So like CGC, I think last year had something like 18 sales, and it's now at 63 data points. BGS increased by a lot as well, up to 156. That's JP's personal collection. SGC, 41. We had a couple other just random companies out there that we included: GMA, TCG, which if I find, I track, but I'm not actively like searching those out because they're just so rare. But you can see, obviously PSA completely dominates, but BGS, CGC, SGC, all right there. The other thing I thought was interesting, this year, 0 HGA sales. That is, those are online. I just looked yesterday. There are a few that are like buy it now on eBay for HGA, but not a single one has been sold that we tracked in the last year.
Most of mine I'm never selling, so you can't touch them. There's a few I've given away, but some you can't submit them, right? So they're closed for submissions right now. So you
and like the idea of a custom label that you personally went out to design, and then you're going to sell that now, because
that doesn't surprise me. I think people that end up with it usually keep it.
Yep.
But that's cool that Cam is giving away that hindsight. I think because HGA isn't taking things, like there's maybe 3 of those floating around. Like that's actually a really, really cool one to have. To own. I was kind of like, I don't have that.
When I was brought on the Graded and Sealed Tracker by Cam and Mark, that was one of the first gifts that they gave me. I was like, hey, thank you for doing this. I got a hindsight HGA custom slab from Cam, and so I have that proudly in my office because I don't really collect graded and sealed stuff myself, but they're fun to have for sure. And that's a pretty cool piece.
Yeah, there's only a few of those floating around, so whoever gets that's quite a prize.
Yeah. You can see the top individual grades sold: PSA 8s, which I think makes sense to us, right? Like PSA 8, a very common grade for a Star Wars CCG card. That is the most there. Then 9, then PSA 7, PSA 10, 146 total sales of PSA 10. So I mean, they're rare, man. Get a
they're
PSA 10.
Yeah, they're hard to get, but I feel like once people get them, they're less inclined to get rid of them.
That's true too. Yeah, less liquid of an asset. And then the last little bit here at the bottom, scroll down, Kyle.
PSA 688.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse for the low ball categories out there.
Yeah. And then again, the last thing that I thought I would give a shout out to, Serge Loiseau did a $3,000 sale of a Japanese premiere Darth Vader. He had 2 copies, PSA 10. Sold both for $3,000. That was our top 2024 sale, which, again, if you go back and look at our average sale price of $79, 2 sales of $3,000 are really going to massively skew that. We see a lot of value to the really premium high-end stuff. Those hold their value really, really well. It's much of the other stuff, a Commander Luke Skywalker foil PSA 8, right, that I see as I'm daily looking at the data, sort of drops off. But those are only worth, $15-20 anyways. So the high end stuff really, really holding value. People massively seeking after that. The other stuff maybe not as much, but those weren't worth as much in the first place, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So that's my overview of graded 2024. I posted that in the graded group. If you ever want to take a look at it, and if you have any other additions, let me know. I'm happy to add stuff that's private sales, or if you have any other data point wonderings, like comparison or specific cards or whatever, happy to run the data for you all.
So It's interesting because that Darth Vader kind of exceeds like the tournament foil Imperial class Star Destroyer foil, right? Like for a while there was like a kind of a frenzy on those, and then I think everybody kind of held on to them. But
yeah, that there was one sales point for that, but it was like I think a PSA 6 or 7.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It was like it wasn't like that great. I would be very curious if an Imperial class Star Destroyer foil 9 or 10 came on the market.
Oh my god, that would be a one of one unique gem,
right?
Possible.
So, yeah, but again, a lot of Japanese Premier, and then the foil sets always being very popular as well.
Yeah, this is some very interesting data. I'm curious to see how this continues to evolve. I think I agree with your assessment on, I think we'll see more from different grading companies come through. The number of 8s and 9s sold won't go away, given like now I think there's enough people that have gotten what they initially wanted, and now they want to see if they can upgrade those. Mm-hmm. So you'll always see those. The graded single sales, Reflections 2 and 3 being right down there. That's really kind of surprising. Titled graded cards sold did not surprise me at all. Number of sellers, I imagine either that would hold or increase in a healthy market, right? We would expect a little bit of growth there. Individual day, I don't know if March 17th is some magical day. I think that kind of happened. But
they are, if anyone's interested, there are always Sundays. Sundays are by far the biggest days of the week in terms of selling Star Wars CCG product. And so, yeah, I would not be surprised if that was a Sunday.
Yeah, I've tried selling around that and it never pans out. I guess nobody's looking. Everyone's like, oh, it's Sunday. I should see what's on the, running out of time today. Right. Yeah. I think that's just become kind of a norm. I'm sure we'll see more sales, but probably at that average price will drop for sure. I've seen so many cheap 9s, selling, which really surprised me. The second half of this past year was just like, wow, like these are almost being given away, not just stuff like I've been selling, but stuff I've been seeing. And it's just like, I don't know if people are indifferent on it or they already have it or they're holding out. I don't know, but frankly, some of the 9s like probably should be going for a little more than that they're selling for. But what do I know? Any other final thoughts, JP or Luke, before we wrap this up?
Well, I just want to thank Luke and all the guys that dedicate their time, their expertise, into putting this data in and making it accurate. It's stuff that you can, live by. It gives you a picture because people are like, I don't even get anymore. Well, how much would this be worth if it's a PSA 9? They use this data on a regular basis, so they know for themselves. They can go look up the information and go, well, is this box of Reflections a good price? Well, you now have all the data. So thank you, Luke, for all your dedication and your time that you put into it. One short note I will say is that the Japanese cards have a lot better quality than the English cards. So just knowing that maybe people are just looking for those 9s and 10s are really focusing a lot on the Japanese side, because there was zero QC going on in the early expansions for the Star Wars CCG cards. So good work.
Final thought on what you have a specific collecting goal, but you and Luke, I'm going to ask you, but I'll start with you, JP, what your collecting goal for this year is.
Yeah, I'm still putting together Japanese A New Hope because of the registry. It's something I can track and compete with.
Right.
I just dabbled in, I haven't shared with anybody, but I submitted a nice little bunch of cards to SGC. I love the look. Card looks like it's in a tuxedo. It's kind of some of the better cards of Star Wars. So I want to see how that goes. And I might
start cards by chance.
What's that?
White border cards by chance?
Yeah.
White borders look really good in those.
Actually, 5 or 6 white borders of some of the mains.
Yeah.
So they look beautiful in that. And I'm a collector. I just do the hobby. Just everything I do, I collect. I rarely get rid of it. I know in these shows I'm probably going to get rid of it, but I just love the look of it, and it'll probably just end up in my PC. But I'll share, do a lot of showcasing, and then get people interested in keeping the hobby going.
Cool. Luke?
Yeah, for me, as always, I'm pictured in front of some uncut sheets. That's my passion. After having the English master set of Star Wars CCG cards, I had it on my shelves for many a year. And then what brought me back to the hobby was having this new basement that we just finished a couple years ago, and wanting stuff to display, and then realizing that there's all this out there. And so, yeah, the light side Hoth uncut sheet rare is my main pursuit at the moment. There's one on eBay for currently $12,000, which
I saw that.
I talked to the seller a little bit about. That's fine. He can price it whatever he wants to price it. I'm hoping some more surface soon, and then a dark side Dagobah sheet. I think are the other two realistic ones. I'm curious what JP has in storage. We've talked about this a lot. He's got a house that's being built. Congratulations on that. And once he gets into that, we'll see kind of what he has in terms of sheets and other goodies. But yeah, I think my goal for the year is really just kind of try to be supportive to the community. So I feel like I am with the data stuff, continuing to kind of help you all out with the market, and seeing, just being patient. I feel like a lot of my stuff is just like waiting to see what surfaces, see what comes up. Like, oh yeah, someone's just going to discover in their, basement, right? Like a tube of this poster from a long time ago that I'll be interested in. And so it's not about, actively pursuing. It's more about like, just if someone sees something, posting it and letting me know. That would be my goal, is just kind of stay patient with the hobby.
Well, if I ever see a random sheet in the wild, I'll reach
Please
out.
Do. Yeah, you know who to go to.
Yeah. No, my goal, I want to see if I can get as close as I can to finishing at least a 910 set of the Japanese premiere. Right now I have like 100 and I don't know, maybe like 170. I can't remember the count. It's on my showcase on my PSA handle, skunkpunk68.
Well, you're halfway.
Yeah, and the majority of them are doing really well. I have another stack of, let's see, I have about 40 coming back. They're in assembly right now, so I'll drop another video when that comes back. That's a mix of some commons, uncommons, and some rares. Like I was trying to do the hard stuff first, finding all these rare ones and then having them grade well. It's been really challenging because there's plenty of cards that might be available, but they're not going to grade above an 8. They might be just lightly played or right there. So like I can't buy it as a single, right? So I do have a lot of product to rip, so I will probably do more rip videos, but I kind of want to see what I get back. The Vader is still elusive. I'd love to pull one. That would be epic. If I could pull one and grade it and get it back where I want it, that would be the creme de creme. Then I could just worry about the commons, because I pretty much have all the other hard ones, at least a 9 and 10. So that is my primary goal. I have also a side goal. I'd like to see if I can improve my first anthology graded, which I guess all those cards are kind of junky. I do have a low ball set for sale right now. I think most of them are 5s and 6s. So if you wanted just a set, like it's stupid cheap, and if that's still available. And then second anthology, I need to finish like a few more of those promo cards. I think I'm missing 1 or 2. But I have a few stacks of those. So that's just like an easy, low-hanging fruit submission kind of thing. I haven't decided whether I'm going to finish my Reflections 1 foil graded set. That's like kind of a lazy man project. Like, if I get to it, But otherwise, thank you, gentlemen. This has been great. If anybody has any comments, especially on some of the data, or they want to find out more about the group, the shows, stuff like that, feel free to reach out to us on the group or comment below, and we can give you more information on it. Thanks all.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Scott.